Hey guys, what is up? It's your boy, Bleak Up. So, I am gonna be doing another ASMR video with all you guys, and it's gonna be phenomenal. So, what I'm gonna be doing today is that I am gonna be doing a manga or a fan fiction on Anohana, and this is called Losing Her Again by Anime Yuri Lover 999. Now, I don't understand why she needed all those nines, but let's just say it's part of a Hitler joke. So let's get right into it. I opened my eyes to see the blue sky above me, the clouds slowly moving. I flinched at the blinding light of the sun. Looking away, I sat up in confusion as my hands landed on the soft grass. I was in a wide field. It seemed a forest seeming to be surrounding me. That makes no sense, but whatever. A sudden gust of wind blew into my face, making the grass sway beneath me. The main question was, where the heck was I? I seemed to be far from any town or any kind of human settlement. There was nothing but grass as far as I could see. I definitely didn't remember planning a camping trip, especially seeming to be far from home. I sighed, slowly standing up, my wobbly legs almost giving way. The only logical thing to do was, of course, look around to see if I could find a way back home. There was a charm to the field, the only noise being the wind. It gave me a sense of peacefulness, which was a nice thing to feel for a change, but I rather lay in my bed in a familiar place than in an area I always didn't know. As I began walking forward, I heard footsteps on the grass behind me. As I turned around and startled, I thought I was the only one there. My eyes widened as my jaw dropped. A young girl with long silver hair and opening blue eyes was standing in front of me. Menma? I stammered in shock as Maiko smiled lightly. A million thoughts and questions rushed through my mind, making me more confused than I already was. Maiko snapped me back to reality by slowly walking towards me, her hair flowing in the wind. Seeing her face, especially that beautiful smile of hers, made me automatically tear up as Mako cocked her head in confusion. Your Menma gently wiped away my tears, her soft touch soothing my mind. She was really here. Miko took my hands with her own as I suddenly felt hot. She poked my cheek, signaling that I was blushing. I looked away, trying to hide my embarrassment as I caught sight of her, seeming to be giggling, but it was inaudible, much to my surprise. I can't hear you. Why? Mem was silencing me, but putting her index finger on my lips, obviously signaling for me to keep quiet. She grinned to me that she meant by no offense by it, as she began to walk the opposite way I was going. Honestly, she wasn't very strong, and we both knew that she couldn't force me to go anywhere by trying to pull me, but I willingly followed her without any objections, as I was overjoyed to just simply see her again. Plus, my curiosity of where she was taking me also motivated me to follow. She led me into the forest, the shade from the trees cooling me. My focus wasn't on my surroundings, but on Memma herself. She was older than she previously was, but she's just as beautiful. Her personality didn't seem to change, which was a good thing. The only thing I didn't want was for her sweet and humorous personality to be replaced by an unkind personality, even though I didn't think that was possible outcome for a girl such as herself. I just added the self because just to give it more emotion. I still didn't know where we were, but I trusted Memma completely, and just seeing her gave me the calming thoughts that nothing bad would happen to me, and I didn't want that feeling to ever go away, as well as the feeling of her hand touching mine. She looked back at me, having that usual cheerful look on her face, which I never wanted to see fade away. Her grip on my hands never loosened or tightened as we continued through the forest. It seemed to never end, which I was honestly content with. Even with my legs getting tired from the slightly grew faster until we were jogging. My pants of exhaustion instantly made her stop as she looked at me in concern as I tried to grin to reassure her. "I'm fine, Menma. Lead the way." Unfortunately, my plan didn't seem to go as planned, as Maiko seemed to ask, "Are you sure?" To which I nodded. She looked at me for a few seconds as if thinking, before continuing on as she let go of my hand to allow me to go at my own pace. I followed behind her, trying to limit my pants, as my hand still had this slight feeling of her own. She suddenly stopped as I remembered as I almost walked into her due to me being in my own little world. I followed her gaze to an old shack in the middle of the forest trees surrounded it. I automatically recognized this building. As Memma ran towards the entrance, I followed as quickly as I can. Looking up at it, I definitely looked different, as it seems to slowly be fall apart. Even vegetation started growing in the cracks of the wood. This didn't seem to falter Menma's excitement. However, as she trotted inside, I hesitantly followed, not completely trusting the building in its current state. The inside of the building honestly didn't look any more promising than the outside. In fact, it looked worse. Very few things were still intact, but Maiko was delighted. All the same, several memories flooded my mind, and how me, Menma, and several others made a club, and this used to be our secret place. I began to smile lightly, remembering the fun times we used to have doing all kinds of weird things for excitement. Now, most of the things we did back then seem childish to me, but back then, it was the most fun I ever had. Michael walked over to a single table in the middle, which was amazingly one of the few things that hadn't broken completely, and picked up a picture frame, gently handing it to me. I looked down at the image, nostalgia hitting me. All my friends, including Mama, were sitting together, smiling brightly. We all looked like we were having the time of our lives, and it didn't seem like we could have had any happier. I looked at Mama, which was now examining the words we wrote on a few pieces of wood. I touched the words gently with my hands, tracing the kanji with my fingers. My mind instantly thought of how we are never, which atomic fuck, which automatically caused my smile to disappear. After that incident, we all went our separate ways. We all changed over the years. Mema was one of the very few that hadn't changed. And the reason was, of course, obviously, but it was still relieving to know that someone had kept their kindness and optimism through all the tragic events that had occurred. I looked at the photo once again, feeling the presence of Menma behind me. She observed the image as well, her smiling never wavering. I gently put the image back down on the old wooden table. Not able to take my eyes off of it, Michael stood beside me before grabbing a hold of my hand once again, leaning on me. This action made me regain my smile, as well as the warmth in my cheeks. She looked up at me, seemingly to know what I was thinking, as her smile finally got replaced by a look of seriousness, which I was used to. I wasn't able to ask about it, as the building suddenly started to shake, the old table finally giving away, the picture falling on the floor, as I instinctively grabbed onto one of the wooden poles, which was keeping. Wow, I am good at reading the building up, which was a huge mistake. I tried to hold on to Menma as well before the sudden weight of the pole collapsed. The building was going to fall at any moment. I tightly grabbed Michael's hand, running towards the entrance before I realized it was harder for me to move. I turned my head to see Michael looking at the picture on the floor, reaching her hand out to it. She obviously wanted to grab it. "There's no time. Come on," I yelled, using my strength to pull her out. I let go of her hand, falling into the ground, and shook before I heard cracks coming from the building. I looked behind me to see Memma running back inside to get the picture. I started to run towards her in panic, but she instantly turned towards me, her look stopping me in my tracks. She avoided the falling piece of wood, grabbing the image before running back towards the entrance. Come on, I yelled, trying to urge her on. My eyes widened as I looked above Menma. A huge piece of wood was about to give away. "Run, Menma!" I on impulse. Despite her early warning, I started to run as fast as I could to help, but it was too late. Or I was too late. I'm not considering it. What am I talking about? My face was frozen in horror as the huge piece of wood collapsed on top of her, as several other pieces added to it, as if in an attempt to bury her. "Menma!" I managed to scream. As the final half of the old building collapsed, adding to the pile, I instantly started grabbing random pieces of wood that were light enough for me to carry, and threw them aside in desperate to find my friend. "Menma!" I gasped as I saw her limping body crushed between the two pieces of wood. I instantly thought that I had lost her again, as my eyes started to swell up in tears. Then she weakly looked up at me. She's still trying to smile, even with the intense pain she must have been feeling. Well, Mama, once I got confirmed she was indeed alive, I tried to put the heavy piece of wood off of her. Fucking helicopters, stop ruining my ASMR. Or actually, this is perfect ASMR. Damn it. I then heard a voice in my head, sounding like it came from Memma. I wanted everyone to be friends again. I nodded sadly, agreeing with her. "Please keep your friendship. That means so much to me." I looked down before looking into her beautiful eyes. "I tried my hardest, I promise," I said in determinism, as this kept to make Memma beam. She rubbed my cheeks one last time before her arms and body grew limp. My eyes widened as more tears fell, the most I have ever cried before. I screamed in frustration and angry at myself. I rubbed my eyes before picking up the image that Memma has barely been able to save. My eyes were narrowed in determinism. I had to grant Memma's last wish. I gasped. My eyes suddenly opened. I was in my bed, the blanket on the floor. I sat up panting. It was all just a dream, but it felt so real. I saw Menma, and My eyes began to tear up again at the very thought of the sad fate. It wasn't real. I never really saw Menma again in real life. I shook my head. No, seeing her in a dream was a blessing itself. Maybe it was a sign from Menma herself. I looked to my right to see the exact same image on the top of my cabinet. It must be. I wouldn't just be having that dream, right? Menma must be telling me something, and I think I know what it is. I stood up, walking over the image. Menma must be regaining my friendship, and I honestly want to as well. Tedesco, Popo, Anaru, Yukitsu, I miss them all. I nodded to myself, promising Menma that I would heal the brokenness between us all. I gently put my finger on Menma in the picture. I promise, Menma. The end. And now, my review on this fan fiction. So, my name, Bleak Up as usual, and this is probably the best fan fiction I've ever read. So 10 out of 10, best fan fiction ever again. And send. So, thank you guys for joining me in my ASMR, or should I say anime Saturday morning readings, because I forgot to introduce it in the beginning of this video. And also, if you have any more anime fan fictions that you want me to read on, then you can send me a link and then I will read them for you with my very sexy voice. So I hope you see you guys in the next episode. Boy.